If you are new to goaltending, or the last time you were out on the ice stopping pucks, your gear looks something like this, then you better stick around because I've got 5 tips that'll make a butterfly goalie out of you yet. If you are new enough to goaltending that you need to learn how to butterfly, then you better hit that subscribe button right now because I sense that you need all the help you can get. And about 25,000 goalies have already beaten you to it, so we've got to make up some time here. Great to meet you. My name's Maria Mountain. I am an exercise physiologist who specializes in off-ice goalie training, so I help goalies win more games with fewer injuries, play with more consistency and confidence. Let's get busy making you a butterfly goalie. If you are going to be a butterfly goalie, then you need some sort of butterfly flair. It doesn't need to be the widest butterfly flair. It doesn't need to be the prettiest butterfly flair, but you need some sort of flair. I actually did a whole 14-day program for you. It's free. You can search in your app store. It's called the Butterfly Challenge, and you can download it as an app. Or I'll put a link in the description below where you can go and get the PDF type version if you're old school like that. But let me give you just one of the simplest, most effective exercises for increasing your hip internal rotation, which is what gives you your butterfly flair. So it's a supine hip internal rotation. So you're gonna lie on your back with your feet just a little bit wider than hip width apart. Then you're gonna pinch your knees in together. You're not gonna force your knees in together. You're just gonna apply a little bit of overpressure. Like if 10 is pushing as hard as you can, you would be pushing it like a 2. Just a little overpressure. I'm holding this for 10 seconds. I actually don't really feel any stretch at all. So I'm gonna come out of it. I'm gonna move my feet just a little bit wider. And then I'm gonna bring my knees in together. Again, using that same just kind of 2 out of 10 overpressure. I'm keeping my good neutral back position. I'm not letting my low back arch. And now I feel a little bit of resistance, a little bit of a, I'll say a stretch, but it doesn't feel the same as like when you stretch your quadriceps and you really feel those muscles stretch. It just feels more like a bit of tension kind of somewhere in my hips. That, as I held for 10 seconds, that feeling of tension kind of dissipated. So I'm gonna go just a little bit further, and you don't have to keep going further. You just wanna find sort of your sweet spot where you get into like a medium type of stretch. If you get a pain or a pinching when you try to do this, then stop, because it means something is getting pinched in there. There's some sort of impingement, and that you're just trying to force your joint to go where it doesn't want to go. That's what it's trying to tell you. It's like pinch, pinch, I don't want to do this. So if you do have that, like a pain or a pinch, that's a sign that you should probably go get your hips checked out. Just make sure nothing's sinister is going on. You're gonna do a 10-second hold like that. You're gonna do 6 repetitions. Another key skill for you to pick up is dropping into your butterfly evenly. So you've probably been on the ice and felt like you drop and like one knee comes down and then the other knee comes down and it just kind of feels awkward. I don't want you just practicing smashing into your butterfly off the floor, even putting on your pads and smashing into the butterfly. I think that adds a lot of wear and tear to your hips. But here's a way that you can do it. I'm gonna use a super band. If you don't have a super band, you can still do this at home. Just get something really like a sofa cushion, you know, something that's about that thick, nice and cushy. I know it's not the same as dropping to the ice, but really all we're trying to do is get that simultaneous release. So get those blades or your feet to release at the same time so that your knees are gonna hit the ice or the cushion at the same time. But I'm using a super band. It's a fairly heavy super band, probably 1.5 inches. And that is kind of pulling me up out of my butterfly. So when I come down, boom, into that butterfly position, it's really, I'm not landing with all my force because this is pulling me almost back up out of my butterfly. So boom, and I can also practice, like, what am I gonna do with my hands? Sometimes our hands do crazy things, so I can practice, you know, keeping those hands projected, staying tall in my hips, as I come into that butterfly. And remember, the key thing we're trying to practice with this is getting both knees to land at the same time. You're just gonna do kind of 6 or 8 repetitions. You can add those throughout your off-ice training, so maybe when you're taking an active rest, for a total of 3 sets. We're not gonna do a high volume on this. We don't wanna add a whole bunch of wear and tear. We're just working on that skill. If you are a true goalie, this next tip is gonna be your favorite tip, because I'm gonna tell you need to buy some new gear. Definitely you should wear knee pads, because part of what new goalies find too is that it can be a little uncomfortable, or you're afraid that it's going to be uncomfortable when you drop into the butterfly. If you're a goalie who's coming back to goaltending after being away for like 20 years, buy new pads. Tell your spouse or your significant other that Maria said you need more pads, because new pads, because the old ones just weren't designed as well for a butterfly. But even if you have new modern pads, you should still wear knee pads underneath, because it just takes away any of the discomfort. You don't even think about it. And why would you torture yourself when you don't need to? The other benefit of knee pads that you maybe haven't even thought about is that it actually does sort of give you a little more height off the ice. What that height off the ice does is it takes some of the torque off your knee and off your hip, so it actually does reduce the wear and tear. The pads that I use are the Warrior. These are the G5s. I've used Warrior knee pads forever. I started with a pair no name, like super cheap ones that were really bad. They sucked. Then I had a pair of old Reeboks. They sucked. And then I got these, and it was love at first butterfly, let me tell you. So I've always just gone and got a new pair. They don't even wear out that much, but now I have a pair that I use for off-ice training. And then after probably 4 or 5 years, like the elastic did get a little worn. So this is a new pair, and actually these are junior size knee pads, because I don't have monster quads. I don't get it. So this is how they fit perfectly for me, that they don't fall down, they don't slide down. I also wear the Bauer G-Form knee sleeves underneath, because I'm kind of soft, and I don't like my knees to be sore when I go in the butterfly whatsoever. I'm interested to know though what knee pads you wear, if you wear them. What do you love about them? What do you dislike about them? A lot of people complain about their knee pads sliding down. Mine don't. They actually stay right where I want them. But if you have any tips or tricks to help keep your knee pads from sliding down, just post it in the comments below, because I see a lot of questions on forums, people asking about knee pads. So tell me all about your knee pads in the discussion below. And once you actually manage to get into your butterfly, you know what's also kind of cool? If you can move from your butterfly and you're not just kind of stuck there swimming around. And that is where, oh yes, we're going to talk more about gear. That's where something you probably have never even thought about comes into play, and it is profiling your blades. I don't mean sharpening your blades or what hollow you're going to use. I mean actually profiling sort of the line that's in contact with the ice. So these are tied-in blades, and they are put in the Spry J profile. So it's a goalie specific profile, and what it does is it makes the front end, so I'm going to exaggerate, but the front end is pitched a little bit more. The middle is a little bit flatter. So what that does for me is when I'm in my butterfly, because you probably have felt like you get in your butterfly and you try to push and you end up just spinning around, or your skate continually washes out. And part of that could be, hey, maybe you don't have the strength to set the edge. Maybe you don't have the ankle mobility, or there's some mobility issue going on that you're not setting an edge. And those things we can improve by training, but we can make everything a lot easier by getting the right profile on your blade. So I just switched to these in the last year. I always just used a stock blade and thought, well, I suck and I just need to practice and get better. From the very first time I skated on them, I thought they'd be really hard to skate on. I thought I'd fall down, things like that. Well, I got used to them, but they were perfect. And I feel like no matter what position I'm in my butterfly, I can always just stick my skate out, get an edge, get a solid edge, and push to where I want to go. So it's Well, it's not cheating. It's just smart. It's something that you can make an easy change, and it's really going to improve your performance and your comfort on the ice. And it's gear. Like, who doesn't love gear? Again, tell Maria said so. Maria said I need this. Sometimes we don't always make the first save, and that is most unfortunate because it means now we're in our butterfly and we have to actually go somewhere. So that's where the next drill comes in. A key ingredient to getting out of your butterfly, again, once you're in it, is bottom-up strength. So bottom-up strength is very different from top-down strength. So even if you work out at the gym, almost all your exercises probably start at the top, come down, and return to the top. But we need, from a standstill, we need a bottom-up strength to help us recover. So this is a very simple bottom-up split squat. So I'm in my perfect split squat position, keeping my torso nice and tall, pushing my lead foot straight into the floor, coming up to the top position, back down, resting all the way back down, so not tapping and going, resting all the way down, and then just initiating from a standstill. How many of those are you going to do? You're going to do about 8 on each side with a tempo of 2 seconds or 3 seconds on the way up. So making those legs do a little bit more work, and then I'll come down, rest all the way down, and then initiate my next repetition. So there are 5 beginner butterfly tips for you. If you want to take a deep dive into how exactly we get a wider butterfly, then check out the Butterfly Mastery course. It's a playlist here on this YouTube channel, Goalie Training Pro TV. Definitely check out the Butterfly Challenge app. Search it in your app store, or again, I'll drop a link in the description. And now I want to hear from you. What is the biggest challenge that you personally have with your butterfly? Drop it in the comments below. And that's how I get ideas for new videos. So I might be able to give you exactly what you need to fix that problem. I appreciate each and every one of you who took the time to try and be a better goalie today. I appreciate each and every one of you who took the time to like and subscribe. If you've already subscribed, make sure you hit the bell. That way you find out about the videos before anybody else. And we just passed 25,000 subscribers. So let's keep this train rolling. And if you're one of those super motivated goalies who's obsessed with being the best, and you're just like, Maria, I just want you to give me a step-by-step plan that I can follow. I don't want to piece it all together from the over 1,000 YouTube videos you have up here. Then check out the description and the link, and it'll give you some more information so that you can see if you qualify to join my new online training group. I will catch you next Wednesday with a brand new video. In the meantime, I picked a couple that I think you're really gonna like. See you then. Hi. There's a fly in here.